Today I am joined by Landon Adams, first-year student athlete at Beloit College playing men's hockey from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Beloit College launched both men's and women's hockey in its inaugural season, with many players and coaches transitioning from the now-closed Northland College program. Landon Adams is part of that founding class, helping build something brand new from the ice up here in Beloit, Wisconsin. Welcome, Landon. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
So you're from Brooklyn Heights, Minnesota, a state where hockey is almost a way of life. When did you first fall in love with the game, and what was your path through junior hockey and then to here at Beloit College?
Yeah, so my dad played hockey. He was a goalie, and at the time when I first started playing hockey when I was 5, we were living in Utah. So I'd already been skiing for a while, so getting on the ice wasn't too much different than skiing. And from there, I played in Utah, Colorado, and then we moved to Minnesota, and then I started playing there. And yeah, after high school hockey, for most college athletes that play hockey, there's an intermediate step where you go play junior hockey, and then you get recruited to Division I or Division III college team.
So that's quite different than most college athletics where students come in right from high school. Is it one of the only sports that does that? Are you familiar with any others that have this junior hockey kind of stage?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the main ones that does it. The only other thing that it's kind of comparable is like a JUCO for like a baseball player. Okay. And but it is very unique for hockey. It's always funny if you look up the average like ages on college hockey teams. They're all mid-20s sometimes.
It's quite different.
Yeah.
So talk a bit about what's it like to go into that junior hockey league. What does it teach you about discipline and practice and hard work? But then also, what's it like to become a student after a year or two not being a student, coming back to that? How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting process. There's a ton of different leagues in the United States and in Canada. And usually when you're a junior or senior in high school, these teams start talking to you, and you can get drafted into some of the leagues. And then from there, once you start playing in the leagues, it's definitely got a different feel, because usually you're in a state that's pretty far from home, and some teams will have you living in a house with some of your teammates. Okay. So you have to learn about being a roommate with someone. And then other teams, they'll put you with a billet family, which is kind of like a host family. Usually the host families have younger kids that are learning to play hockey, so that was the experience I had. So I got to live with a family who they had an 8-year-old son who played hockey, so I got to teach him a little bit, and then a 12-year-old daughter who was into dance. Okay. Yeah, and usually sometimes you can do online classes, but usually you're just focused mainly on hockey this time.
How did you find it to then become a student after that time? You know, you've been a student for 12 years. You're not doing it for 2 years. Is it a welcome change to come back in? Is it a bit of a shock? Is it a whole different kind of schedule? What's interesting about that?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous going into school, because I mean I was worried that I forgot like everything, like especially math. But no, it actually turned out pretty well. I felt like I was able to stay on top of my work the first semester. So I would say that like the biggest thing is like when you are getting into that adjustment period where you haven't been doing school in a while, just trying to stay on top of your work is the main thing.
Good to hear. So let's talk about the Beloit College hockey program for a bit. It's brand new. This is the first season. What gave you the confidence to join something that didn't have a track record yet?
Yeah, it is a little scary to join a new program, and there have been a couple new programs popping up in Division III hockey recently. But the reason that Beloit is just a little bit different from those other new programs is that the majority of the team had already played together at Northland College, so it wasn't quite the same feeling where it was like you were joining a new school, but most of the guys had already played together. they already knew each other, so it wasn't like starting from fresh. We had a little bit of a head start on some of those other first-year
Same
programs.
coach as well, right?
Yep, same coach.
Yep. So what's it like being part of an inaugural team? I imagine there's a lot of work to set culture, new traditions, expectations, even if some of the team has played before. What's that like, and what's it like knowing that future players for Beloit College ice hockey will follow in those footsteps?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting knowing that we're starting something new here, and that we can point to the Beloit College hockey team in the future and just say that we were part of that from the beginning. It is tough to start a program from the start, and we definitely had a big emphasis this year on starting a hardworking culture, that we came to the rink every day for practice and wanted to get better every day, and that followed into games. So I'd say it's just starting that culture of pushing yourself every day, that you want to keep going. As a freshman like me, I have 3 more years, but some of the other guys that only have a couple more years just want to keep pushing, so that way the guys that come in next year and in the following years have that culture to build on.
So you play at the Woodman Sports and Convention Center in Janesville, a beautiful brand new facility. How does that environment impact the team experience and fan engagement?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great rink to play at. There's never any complaints when you are playing at a brand new ice rink, so that was pretty fantastic, and it was great to just go to the rink every day. And sometimes when you go to a hockey rink that's a little bit older, well, especially if you have early morning practices, it's quite cold, and but luckily when you're showing up to a new rink, it's exciting to be there. You're not freezing when you walk into the rink, but it was a great experience to play at the Woodman Center, and I hope we go back there next year, and I hope that we can keep getting students to come up to the games. We had a couple shuttles that brought them to home games, so that was exciting. So hopefully we can keep that going into next year.
So talk about the early morning practices. It's not something you imagine that teenagers and people in their young 20s love getting up super early. Are your practices early? Is that something that is, what does that feel like?
Yeah, our practices were pretty early because we had to do practices before classes. So, and since the center is in Janesville, it is a little bit of a drive. So, my roommate JD and I, we usually got up around 5:30 a.m., which definitely isn't the most fun thing, but it's just about getting into that routine. Like, we had our morning routine going. I would wake up. I'd get a bagel going and a coffee, and it's not the best. It's not your favorite thing to get up that early, but it does get a head start on your day. You feel good after practice, and you do get into that sleep schedule where you're tired by 9 p.m. and ready to go to bed.
Yeah, that's probably a healthy choice anyway, getting to bed early. Let's talk a bit about the transition for your fellow teammates who did come from Northland College. Many players came, the coaches came from Northland College after its closure. How did that shared experience shape the chemistry of this new team when there was a whole bunch of people who'd played together, but then some new people coming in as well?
Yeah, I would say that everyone coming from Northland was very excited. Northland was definitely a smaller school, and while Beloit is still a smaller school, it was a step up, like, population-wise for all of them. And just talking to some of the different classes, like we had 3 seniors who, they spent most of their college careers at Northland. They enjoyed coming to Beloit and finishing strong here, and then just talking to a couple of the other guys that have only played 1 year at Northland. They're really enjoying Beloit as well, just the classes that are offered here, and how supportive the community has been, even though we're a first-year program here.
That's wonderful to hear. So you mentioned the students finishing strong at their last year. What's the academic side of Beloit been like so far for you? How do you balance all of that? Practices, travel for games, strength training, and coursework, which is the reason you're a college student at all.
Yeah, I felt like it's been pretty easy to balance so far. Luckily, we haven't had to miss too many classes for travel. I know that a couple of the other sports teams have had to miss more, so we're fortunate that we haven't had to go through that as much. But I'd say our coach Shane Buckley is very supportive of academics, and whenever we are on the road for trips, he always has designated study times usually when we're in the hotel so we can get our work done. And then on top of that, he's always very supportive if, like, for example, JD and I had a presentation that made it so we couldn't make it to a practice, and he's very supportive of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, we are expected to get all our work done and make it to all of our practices, so it can be difficult sometimes juggling all that, but if you stay on top of it, it's not too bad.
So now you're 2 semesters in at Beloit. What's a course you've taken here that's been really interesting or exciting that you've had a chance to be in?
Oh, I've really enjoyed, I took Logic the first semester with Matt Tedesco. He is my advisor right now, so that was a very fun course because I went into it, I didn't really know what to expect, but it's kind of a combination of math and an English course where you translate all these logical arguments into symbols, and then you kind of play around with the symbols, which is kind of like the math side, and then you see if the arguments are valid or invalid. So it was a class that I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but ended up really enjoying it.
That's wonderful to hear. I think that's a great thing about a liberal arts college education, where you end up taking a bunch of things that weren't necessarily the thing you thought you might study, or maybe you don't know what you want to study, but get a chance to expose yourself to some different areas and learn some cool things and new ways of thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just talk about your time in the city as a whole. You're new to the city, you're new to the college this year. What have you enjoyed about the city of Beloit so far, or the college? Campus life, the community, local spots, or just the overall feel of your new home here in Beloit?
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it so far. The downtown area has been very fun to explore. It's been fun to go to all the restaurants. My parents have come up and visited a couple times, and they definitely enjoy going out to eat. So we've gone to all the restaurants, enjoyed them all, and then it's been fun to get out as a team as well. We've gone to Henry Doorbaker's a couple times and hung out there. And then just on the campus, the powerhouse is a great place to hang out, especially after eating. You can go down into the recreation room and play some pool or ping pong.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So imagine if you met another student or a person playing junior hockey right now, thinking about coming to Beloit College. What would you tell them?
Oh, I mean, I would only have positive things to say about coming to Beloit. It is tough when you're in junior hockey thinking about what college to go to, because sometimes you have different offers from Division III schools, and then sometimes they're club teams at bigger institutions that are also an option. But I would just say that if you want to go to a very supportive community academically and on the athletic side, that Beloit is a great fit, and we've got a great program here starting, so it's exciting to move forward with that.
So as you think about your first year here at college, what does success look like for you at the end of this year? How will you know that this was a great year for you?
Well, I feel like the hockey season, it's already over now, so I am only looking at it positively and excited for the next 3 years. I'd say on the academics or athletic side, just keep working out with the team and get ready for the next season. And then academically, just finishing strong with all my classes and hopefully having a couple projects or internships to look forward to in the summer.
That sounds great. Thank you for joining us today, Landon. It's been wonderful talking.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Landon, a Beloit College student athlete on the inaugural ice hockey teams, Beloit College.
Hello everyone, welcome to Beloit TV. My name is Quentin Shane, and today I'm joined by Mark Perry of Community Action. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Mark Perry, the Executive Director of Community Action. I've been with the agency for 19 years in various roles, and have been the Executive Director for the past 5. My background is nonprofit human services, primarily working with youth from challenged backgrounds, and been doing so for about 3 decades now.
And how would you describe Community Action to someone who's never heard of it?
So community action agencies were founded out of Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty, his Great Society legislation. The goal of community action agencies is to fight and eliminate poverty. We've been around since the early 1960s. So our agency actually just celebrated its 60th anniversary just this past year. There are about 1,000 community action agencies across the country, all serving different communities, so with a similar mission, but most of us are private nonprofits that are loosely affiliated at the state level, regional, and national level. So, but combating poverty and moving people to economic self-reliance is our primary mission.
Well, congratulations on the 60-year birthday.
Thank you.
What inspired you to work for this organization?
I was working in another community and saw an opportunity come open at Community Action in my hometown, and wanted to do the work that I was doing in another community, in my own community, to give back. So, I was born and raised in Beloit, moved away after high school, went to college in Milwaukee, worked in a number of different communities, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Chicago, and then found an opportunity and wanted to come back and give back after I built my skill sets to my resume. So, and community action seemed like a great place to do it.
And which of those cities that you mentioned was your favorite to work in?
Oh gosh, probably I spent a decade in St. Louis. It became like my second home. I was working for an organization which is called Wyman Center, which is one of the oldest camping organizations in the entire country, working with kids in St. Louis and East St. Louis. That was an amazing experience, an amazing opportunity. If you've ever been to a community like St. Louis where you have a high level of poverty, high level of crime, things like that, your eyes get really open. Being a kid from a small town in Wisconsin, it was incredibly eye-opening to work in a space to see that kind of poverty in the United States, but also to see people who still had so much resiliency and so much hope. And people who are really working to get themselves out of those situations. So it was a great place to spend my 20s and my early 30s.
That sounds like a very impactful experience.
Yeah. It's life-changing.
Oh, I can imagine. What are some ways that you guys work in the local community to help improve?
Sure. So we do just basic things like we do rental assistance, so providing housing for individuals. We operate a homeless shelter, so we work with the unhoused. We operate an employment and training program that targets people who are coming out of the criminal justice system to try to get them employed and keep them out of the system. So we really focus on getting people employed, keeping them employed, and lowering the recidivism rate here in Wisconsin. We do a school-based youth education program to do STI prevention and sexual health prevention. So we do that in high schools all over Rock County. We do some housing development. So we build houses, we rehab houses, and sell houses to try to build home ownership for first-time home buyers. We dabble in some food distribution. The agency has about 25 different programs and services that we offer. So basically, we run several child care centers and early learning centers here in Beloit and in Janesville. So honestly, anything that's human service related, there's a good chance our agency does it or has her hand in it in some way, shape, or form.
That's really cool. Is that unique to the Beloit location, or was it similar in the other places?
Community actions like that across the country are similar to be doing multifaceted programming like that. It's kind of the niche to fit, like community action agencies are designed to fill whatever gap in services exists in their community. So you'll see a lot of similar things. A lot of us do Head Start or child care. A lot of us do housing and homeless services, weatherization programming. A lot of us do employment training and programming, or like entrepreneurship programs, business incubator programming. So it's a lot of that kind of work, just really looking at people where they are and trying to help them move and trying to fill all the gaps. So transportation, childcare, food, housing, the basic needs. But then those next steps, like you're underemployed, but you have a desire to go back to school. How do we help you do that? So maybe we can provide some resources for you to go back to school, make sure you have childcare and transportation so you can complete whatever you want to do and move on to the next steps, things like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's no 2 days are. I've been there for 19 years, and no 2 days have ever been the same.
Well, as someone who fears a 9-to-5, that sounds like an amazing way to get involved.
It is it is the 9-to-5 thing is really interesting because honestly, if you do human services and it's something you want to do, it is a 24/7, 365. It's honestly not a job. It's a lifestyle choice. Especially in a senior leadership role like mine, I'm never off. There's no such thing.
Right.
So, but it's a choice. You choose to consciously live a certain way because crisis doesn't happen just between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. People need services and supports all the time,
Right.
and different services and supports.
Right. In your senior leadership role, what did it take for you to work up to that position?
Oh gosh, lots of late nights and long hours, some luck. For people as I was coming along in my career to recognize that I was worth investing in. You know, training, mentoring, support, education, and then a willingness to, you know, just step out, just try new things and experiment, do new things, learn new skills. Really, honestly, never feeling like I was out of my comfort zone because I'm, you know, just there's no fear. Just you want to try new, different things. But the most important thing is always the desire to be in the space where you can do the most good. So in a leadership role, I can have the most, and especially for the agency, that's where I can have the most impact and influence. And it also allows me to groom, mentor, and support up-and-coming leaders in the community, both in our agency and in the community as a whole.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wanted to get involved and start helping with community action, what steps would they need to take?
Oh, reaching out to our volunteer coordinator if they're looking for volunteer opportunities or internships, just on our website or giving us a call. And then if you're looking for employment opportunities, we always have employment roles available. People often don't think about nonprofits that way, but we're also one of the largest employers in this community. So, and we run, you know, like any other organization, we run our like a business. I have to finish in the black and deliver a clean budget every year, like everybody else. So.
And just for the folks at home, what is the website?
www.community-action.org.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And if someone in the community needs your services, is that the same place they should go?